Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. We've talked a good deal, haven't we, about the fact that overnight, the young and the restless Claire went from cold and cunning to sweet as pie. It just didn't make sense. Once she learned the truth about the lie her parents were told, that she had died, she could be remorseful for her actions, sure. But to completely shit every aspect of her personality and adopt one that is as innocent as Snow White didn't track. Unless it does. Suppose the 180 Claire pulled wasn't genuine at all, but part of a master plan. Suppose she's still acting on crazy Aunt Jordan Sam. Orders. Playing the long game. Were that the case, Claire's personality transplant would be a stroke of genius. One that allowed her to get in good, with not only the Abbotts but the Newmans as well. And it's worked too. She's been embraced by her birth family, is seen as a voice of reason around the Abbott mansion. What that means is that whenever crazy Aunt Jordan wants, she can pull the trigger on her secret weapon, Claire, and annihilate both clans. How easy would it be for her to put on her best Pollyanna act and say that she wants to cook a peacemaking dinner for her family as well as boyfriend Kyle's? After a day in the kitchen, and a little arsenic added to every dish, she could make her aunt's every nightmarish dream come true. The room was buzzing with tension as the team gathered around the conference table. Papers were scattered across its surface, and a digital map flickered on the screen at the front of the room. Alex, the lead investigator, adjusted his glasses and glanced at Claire, who was seated across from him. Her calm demeanor had always been one of her defining traits, but today, something about her seemed off. The case they had been working on for months was riddled with twists, but one name kept resurfacing in unexpected places. Jordan. A shadowy figure whose motives were as unclear as their allegiance, Jordan was suspected of manipulating events from behind the scenes. And now, there was a whisper of a connection between Claire and Jordan, a possibility that gnawed at Alex's mind. All right, let's go over what we have. Alex began, his voice steady despite the unease roiling within him. Claire, can you recap the intel from last week? Claire nodded, her tone professional as she outlined the findings. She spoke with precision, detailing the intercepted messages and decoded files. Yet, as she talked, Alex couldn't help but notice the subtle shifts in her expression. A fleeting hesitation here. A quick glance down there. Was it simply the pressure of the investigation, or was there something more? It had all started a week ago when Sam, the tech analyst, discovered an encrypted communication buried in their database. The message wasn't just any correspondence. It bore a code signature linked to Jordan. More startlingly, the communication had been routed through a terminal registered to Claire. When confronted, Claire had been quick to explain. "It's not what you think," she had said, her eyes steady. "My terminal was left unsecured that day. Anyone could have used it." Her explanation was plausible. In the chaos of the office, unsecured terminals were not uncommon. But Alex couldn't shake the nagging feeling that there was more to the story. The timing was too perfect, the anomaly too specific. For someone as meticulous as Claire, such a lapse seemed out of character. As the days passed, Alex began piecing together fragments of Claire's recent behavior. She had been working late hours, often staying behind after everyone else had left. Her explanations were always reasonable, tying up loose ends, analyzing data, preparing reports. Yet, her solitary nights in the office coincided suspiciously with spikes in encrypted network activity. Driven by a mixture of curiosity and concern, Alex decided to investigate further. Late one evening, he stayed behind, claiming he had reports to finish. From his office, he watched as Claire sat at her desk, her face illuminated by the glow of her screen. She appeared engrossed, occasionally glancing over her shoulder as if wary of being watched. After an hour, Claire left the room, her phone in hand. Sensing an opportunity, Alex slipped over to her desk. The screen was locked, but a small USB drive protruded from the terminal. He hesitated, debating whether to cross the line. Ultimately, his instincts won out. He pocketed the drive, intending to examine it later. Back home, Alex connected the drive to his laptop. The contents were encrypted, as expected, but Sam's earlier lessons on decryption came in handy. Within minutes, he was staring at a folder labeled Project Nexus. Inside were files containing detailed schematics, personnel lists, and, most alarmingly, a correspondence log. The sender was anonymous, but the recipient's alias was unmistakable: Jordan. The next morning, Alex approached Claire, the USB drive tucked securely in his pocket. "Claire, we need to talk," he said, gesturing for her to follow him into a private office. She raised an eyebrow, but complied, her expression neutral. Once the door was closed, Alex placed the USB drive on the desk between them. "I found this," he said, his voice low. "Do you want to explain?" Claire's eyes flickered to the drive, then back to Alex. For a moment, her mask slipped, revealing a flash of something that could have been fear or anger. "It doesn't matter," Alex replied. "What matters is what's on it. You've been communicating with Jordan. Why?" Claire's lips pressed into a thin line. She exhaled slowly, as if weighing her words. "You're making assumptions," she said finally. "Yes, I've been in contact with Jordan, but it's not what you think. I've been feeding them false information. It's part of an off-the-books operation to misdirect their efforts." Alex's eyes narrowed. "And we're just supposed to take your word for it. Why didn't you tell anyone?" "Because the fewer people who know, the better," Claire said, her tone firm. "If Jordan suspected we were onto them, the entire operation would be compromised. I was going to bring it to you once I had enough to take them down." Her explanation was plausible. Just plausible enough to cast doubt on Alex's suspicions. But was it the truth? Over the next few days, Alex couldn't shake his unease. He monitored Claire closely, watching for any sign that her story might unravel. Meanwhile, Sam continued digging into the files from the USB drive. What they uncovered only deepened the mystery. One of the messages contained a rendezvous location and a time. A secluded warehouse on the outskirts of the city, set for the coming Friday night. If Claire was truly working against Jordan, this would be the perfect opportunity to gather evidence. But she wasn't. Alex made his decision. He would follow her. The warehouse was dark and silent when Alex arrived, hidden in the shadows of a nearby alley. At precisely 10 p.m., a car pulled up. Claire stepped out, her posture tense, as she approached the entrance. Moments later, another figure emerged from the shadows. It was Jordan. Alex strained to hear their conversation, his heart pounding in his chest. "Did you bring it?" Jordan asked, their voice low and gravelly. Alex's stomach dropped. He'd been wrong to trust her. She was working with Jordan. But as he prepared to confront them, Claire's next words stopped him cold. "It's all fabricated," she said, her voice laced with defiance. "You think I'd actually hand over real intel? This ends here, Jordan." Jordan's laugh echoed through the warehouse. "Bold of you, Claire, but you're out of your depth." Before Alex could intervene, a commotion erupted. Lights flashed as a tactical team stormed the building, weapons drawn. Claire raised her hands, stepping aside as Jordan was apprehended. As the dust settled, Claire turned to Alex, who had emerged from his hiding spot. "I told you," she said simply. "Sometimes you have to play the part to win the game." In the days that followed, the truth came to light. Claire's clandestine operation had been sanctioned by higher-ups, designed to lure Jordan into a trap. Her secrecy had been a necessary evil, though it had come at the cost of her colleagues' trust. For Alex, the ordeal was a lesson in the complexities of loyalty and deception. While he doubted Claire, her actions had ultimately proven her dedication to the team. Still, a part of him couldn't help but wonder, if the situation had been reversed, would he have made the same choice? The case was closed, but the questions lingered. In their line of work, trust was both a weapon and a vulnerability, and in the shadows where they operated, the line between ally and enemy was always razor thin.